Kyle Smith. Kyle, Smitty,
How's it going,
dude,
buddy?
it's so good to see you.
Yeah, you too, man.
It's hard to realize, like for me, like I know people in my life, but you're one of the oldest people that I know.
Yeah,
And I've known you since like I want to say first grade at Lake City Elementary.
I think so. Yeah, I think you're right on that.
And that's where I remember you like as the football guy.
That's funny. Yeah,
So
yeah. It kind of all started back in the playground, I guess.
yeah. Now, so you're a football coach. Oh,
Yep,
like you're a high school football coach.
yep. Yeah. It's good stuff, man. It's a lot of fun. Never would have thought I would have got into it, to be honest with you. I mean, I really didn't have any interest in it. Really in high school. I mean, I always thought like, when you're in like middle school, high school, you always think you're gonna go play college ball and stuff like that. But I realized I stopped growing in the 8th grade. So my passion for going playing at like a higher level was kind of out of the out of the picture. So it was weird. Like one day after practice, um, one of the middle school coaches like approached me and was like, "Hey, why don't you stop by practice and watch and see what we do?" I was like, "Okay, I'll do that." Thought it was pretty cool. Never really thought anything after that. And then like that next fall when I was in college, the same guy asked me to come and help him coach. So I guess it all started, then. So I was coming home every Thursday for practice, Friday practice, and we had Saturday games. So I coached middle school football for like 3 years.
Where at?
In McBain, actually. So yeah, it all kind of started there. And honestly, coaching middle school was probably one of the funnest times. I mean, I had great groups of kids. I mean, those were some of the kids that I coached in high school. So yeah, it was kind of cool how it all started, just with a simple conversation of, "Hey, why don't you stop by practice and see how it goes?" And then it all was kind of a ripple effect from there. And ever since then, I guess I've stuck with it. So
Yeah, it's you've been a leader since I've known you. Like going back to sixth grade. For me, I'm not surprised. I know maybe it was kind of a surprise for you to be a football coach, but like you've always been a natural like organizer of people to do something.
yeah,
And so this started in like you started coaching middle school in McBain. When did you move to Lake City to coach there?
Um, yeah. So, like I said, I was 3 years middle school, and that was like when I was in college.
Mm,
When I was in college, I came back in the fall to help do that. I took a couple of years off just to try to finish school and whatnot. And actually, the guy that got me into it, Ryan Pace is his name. He's actually still coaches out in McBain, but he ended up moving up to high school. So like I was like, well, if he's not there, I'm not going to coach. I'm just going to take a few years off, whatever. Finished up college. I was around the area, had some jobs around the area. So I got back on board. Started helping Chad Grundy. He was the head coach at the time. And the guys that I coached in middle school, they were in varsity now. So it was kind of cool. I had that relationship with those kids. So I was there for I was in the high school for probably, between JV and varsity, I think it was 4 or 5 years. So it just life got crazy, and I think what ended up how I ended up leaving McBain is just I just felt like my time there was over with. Like I didn't feel like I was going, not necessarily going anywhere, but I just felt like my time there was done. So I took some time off, and I was approached by Lake City to come aboard, and I ended up joining. I'm going to say it was 2015. That was the year, but I was just an assistant on the JV. Then that following season, the head coach had resigned on the varsity, and I was like I ended up I was named the JV head coach for probably 2-3 months. But when he had left, nobody else wanted to apply for it. I was like, well, I'll just apply for it. It definitely wasn't a goal of mine. I thought it would be pretty cool to be the JV head coach for a while, see how it goes. And, I ended
think
up being named the varsity coach 9 days before practice started in 2016. So
I find that the universe has a way of like pushing us in the direction that we need to go. And it seems like it just was a natural fit. Like,
yeah, yeah, I think so. And it was tough because we graduated from McBain. We played football and sports, for McBain, and Lake City is a rival. So it was tough going to your rival, but it's you know Lake City's got a lot of great people, and they got a lot. I mean, even better kids. So I mean, it was a good fit, and I'm super blessed to be here for sure.
how is it now? Is it with the coaches that you have working with you? How is it working with all of the community and building all these relationships? Because there's so much that comes into it. It's the kids, the parents, the
Oh,
community.
yeah.
What's that like?
Uh, honest, I mean, it's almost everybody says it, and everybody's a little biased, but truthfully, I have the greatest coaching staff anybody could ask for. My head assistant, Kevin Kent, he's an amazing dude. He goes above and beyond for everybody, every kid. He does more than what I mean, in all reality, like especially weekly prep, game day prep, he does probably more than what I do. I mean, he's a go-getter. He's a guy that make sure things get done, especially when there are times I can't be there. He really stepped up, and really all my coaches did when Harper got sick. So I mean, saying that I have a great coaching staff, I do, and they did everything that I didn't even have to ask them. They just took over, and pretty blessed to have those guys in my life and my coaching staff. The community, they're behind the football program 110%. Building relationship with community members, faculty, administration, all the kids, that's key to have a successful program. And, I think we're headed in the right direction as far as, where we're, how we're doing things.
Yeah. And it's amazing to see how Linda has become part of that direction too, and building the community relationships. Like she's very social media active,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm. Have you seen people like bring what what you've gone through with Harper, bring that onto the football field, and have they wanted to like work harder with you? Um,
Yeah, it's crazy. And actually, shout out to Linda because she was actually the one that when I was approached to coach in Lake City, she was the one that said, "You have nothing to lose, just go and see what it's like."
mm,
I was really hemming and hawing about it, man. I was like, I don't know if I should or not. She's like, just do it. And
mm.
so, I mean, really, she's kind of the one that gave me the push to go, and the rest is history. But yeah, no, she's great. Um, and the kids really, especially the 2 years that Harper, the 1 year when Harper really got sick, I had a group of seniors that just and a lot of them told me personally, like, I'm playing as hard as I can for your daughter and for you. And that means more than any win, that any trophy you can get. Just a kid telling you that they're laying it all out there for your loved one. And it's pretty amazing. When I mean, all kids have hearts, man. Everybody has a heart, and nothing pulls at your heart, like a little kid getting sick, and so it was really great that I had some kids that you know really put it out there for her. And so it was cool.
Yeah, I think that's like the biggest. I try to think of those moments when we were playing football, and
Hmm.
it wasn't even about the win or the loss. It was like that specific moment that
Yeah.
somebody did something. Uh, do you see that these kids are like responding to? I don't know. They're how are they growing as individuals? Do you see that? Like, do you see kids becoming more adults through football?
I'd say so. I mean, football is a great tool to teach, um, especially like hard work, accountability, um, and why those play such huge factors is, if you don't work hard and you're not accountable for, and you're not putting forth the work, you're not gonna get anything out of it. You're not gonna play. you're just going to be a kind of a bystander on the sideline. But it helps. I mean, it's really cool to see the journey as freshmen all the way up through their senior year, and just like the growth, like a maturity level of, you have all freshmen are punks, man. I mean, that's just the way it is. I mean, they think they're on top of the world. They're in high school now, but you see them progress, through their sophomore, junior, senior year. It's really cool to see some of them. I mean, and really all of them. I mean, they change for the better, and they're great kids, and they go on to do good things. And some go play college football, some just go to college, some go into the trade school, some go into the military. And those are some of my prouder moments, man. I tell you, I've had 3 kids so far go into the military that I've coached, and I'm so proud of those guys. I mean, that's a sacrifice that not a lot of us are willing to make. You know what I mean?
My wife joined the National Guard, so for yeah, so she did basic training, and we wrote letters every day. Yeah, it's it on the family too. It's a sacrifice for many people.
Yeah.
So what about Smithville Landing? How's that hanging in the balance of all of this?
It's crazy. Through a pandemic, we actually had probably the best summer we've had in 10 plus years. It's crazy. I mean, people wanted to get out. They had a little extra cash, and they went up and rented a tube or a canoe and headed down the river, man. So it was pretty cool.
So are you running that? Like, it's still full swing business, or?
No, it's my mom and dad are still running it. Yeah, they took it over from my grandmother. I probably have the date wrong, but I'm gonna say like 2008 or something like that. Because my grandpa died in 2005, and my grandma ran it for like 3 years, and it was a lot for her. I mean, it's a lot to run a crazy business, at 70 plus years old, and she did all she could, but it was probably best for my parents to take it over, and they've done great things with it, and really have kind of turned it in and made it their own, really. But it's going to be a few years yet before I take it over per se, or buy it from them. It's going to be a little bit before that happens, but looking forward to that day.
So that's a family owned business, right?
Yep.
How does that play into, like, do you think that has an impact on, like, I don't know, growing up, or has it? I've always thought like families that have businesses that are, and they are able to share those with like their kids and pass it on. I've always been very like interested in that. Do you feel like that passing on of something in the family has like changed you or directed you in some way?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I mean, my grandpa started it in '66, so it's been around for a while. I think it's and it was and that was actually one of the reasons why I ended up going to Northwood, because he always thought it'd be a good idea for me to get a business degree, just to maybe take Smithville to the next level. And so it was kind of his passion for me to have it one day. But yeah, I think it's really cool, just because there's something that my grandfather started. Now my dad has it, so it means even that much more to me. So for me to be able to have it, I think it would be really awesome. And I'm not saying this is what I want my son to have, because I don't know what it's going to be like 15 years from now. You know what I mean? I don't know where Hudson's going to be at, and what his hopes and dreams are. But, if we could pass that through like basically 4 generations, that'd be pretty awesome, and it's always something that's there, like, I know in the summertime, like if for say I wasn't in the school system and I didn't have a job, I knew I could always fall back onto that, and so yeah, it's pretty special to have something like that in your life, especially passing it on between, my grandfather to my dad, now, hopefully one day to me.
Yeah, that's awesome. I that's kind of my goal with what I'm doing here in Chicago. I have my own little studio, so hopefully someday we can pass that on.
Heck yeah, man.
Keep doing music.
Yeah.
I did a conversation thing with Mike Maines. I don't know if you watched that, but he mentioned you, and you got me thinking about like just you. So I'm glad that we're able to do this.
Yeah, for sure. No, Linda actually ended up showing me that. I thought that was really nice, man. That was really cool.
Yeah. So you experienced like with Harper, like I never really got to talk to you about that.
Hmm.
How is it now? Yeah, I see videos and she looks so much better.
Yeah. To be honest with you, I mean, I don't. It's not hard to explain. It's not tough to explain. There's just so much of it. But we went in because she was having like flu-like symptoms. Back in 2018 July. She was having flu-like symptoms. She just wasn't feeling very good. And if you were to tell me that you know she was gonna go in for like what they had thought was a bowel issue, and then it ended up turning into this, I would have been like, oh, there's no way that'll ever happen to my kid. You know what I mean? And
Mm.
you see stuff on TV and you're like, oh, that'll never happen to me. And the crazy thing is it all stemmed from E. coli, you know, which was bovine basic crap. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I don't know if it was like tainted meat or and the weird thing is is such a picky eater. So it was hard to really pinpoint it, but yeah, she got crazy sick. It all blurred together because you're just in the moment and you're like, oh my God, just hoping and praying that like God performs a miracle and that he essentially saves her, because we were at a point in time where we didn't know what was going to happen, and the doctors had kind of told us that I would plan for the worst. That's scary when it's a 4-year-old kid. You know what I mean? Like it's different. Like if it's say your grandfather or your grandmother, you know what I mean? It's different when somebody's lived a long life, but like a 4-year-old innocent kid, dude, that's just been like, that was like the toughest part. Um,
And they have a personality too,
yeah.
you know?
And it's, so I mean, like everything was completely wiped out, man. Like I mean, everything, like the reset button was hit with Harper. I mean, she sustained a brain injury. She had obviously kidney failure, hence why she had to get a kidney transplant. While her stay in the PICU, she had heart issues. She had a liver issue. She's technically a diabetic right now because her pancreas was injured. Almost every one of her veins in her body were just destroyed, during her stay in the hospital. And it was all because her body just went haywire. And like it didn't know what to do. So it just like started attacking itself. Um, we finally got to a place where she was recovering. Um, and when we were finally released from the hospital after 14 weeks, the doctors basically prepared us for like just saying, this is probably what you're going to get out of her. Like essentially almost be a vegetable the rest of her life. So what she's doing now is just defied the odds. I mean, she walks around, she runs, and she doesn't necessarily run, but she walks fast, she jumps. She wrestles around with me, with her brother. She can talk, which was something that they basically said she would never do. So I mean, she's an amazing kid, but it
She's
was by
happy.
far the hardest thing I've ever gone through in my life. I mean, and we're still kind of going through it just because we're trying to get her back to where she was. But I mean, we got time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Those kids are so resilient. Uh,
Yeah, they really are.
I mean, what is what I think what surprises me is like they just they find happiness still, you know,
Yeah,
and she looks so happy. It's like, this is her normal, but it's like, okay,
yeah,
she
yeah.
seems,
She is. She's incredibly happy, which is makes it easy. But it wasn't always like that. I'm gonna be honest with you. When we first brought her home, we had to like desensitize her because every time you touched her, she would get upset. She would cry. She'd get angry. She'd grind her teeth because she couldn't really communicate that like everything hurt. Um, But now, I mean, she hugs, she kisses, I mean, you can touch her. She's happy. She's happy from the moment she wakes up in the morning until she closes her eyes at night. She's happy, she's talkative, and that's what makes things a lot easier because she's fun, and like I said, most importantly, she's happy.
Yeah. Does COVID play into any of this? Like with the closing, or do you have to be careful with that?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. She's immunocompromised because she's on immunosuppressants for her kidney transplant.
Mm,
Um, just so her body doesn't reject it, so her immunity is much lower than say mine and yours. So we have to be extra cautious with stuff like this because she can't afford to get it. It's pretty clear that it'd be a struggle for her to fight something like that off if she were to contract it.
yeah. Well, good job. Keep it
Yeah,
up.
trying to, man.
You know that what's that saying? Like, and it's been hard for you too, and for the whole family, I'm sure. What's that saying? It's like this struggle will be useful to you someday. I don't. Do you feel like you've grown from all of it? Do you feel like
I
your
would,
family has grown?
yeah, I would say so. I mean, 15, like you were to tell me my senior year in high school, like my two favorite people in the world are a 6-year-old girl and a 3-year-old boy, I tell you, you're crazy because I wasn't always about like that at that time. Um, I was more about like what playing sports and like hanging out with friends and doing this, that, whatnot. Over time, you grow from that. But then, especially when you have kids, man, I tell you what, like they're your number one passion, and I just you grow up, like you stop playing sports. I mean, yeah, you still coach it, but you stop playing, summer softball 4 nights a week, going to open gyms, going to some 7-on-7 type stuff, it's more about family time, and that's a better place to be at in my opinion. Like I said, I would told you you're crazy 10, 15 years ago, but like now that's all I want.
Yeah. Do you have any advice for some of these kids that you're coaching since they're going on?
Right.
What would you say?
um just, I mean, time flies. It really does. Time goes by fast. I mean, I remember a lot of our days and in high school and middle school and stuff like that, and it just seems like yesterday. Don't take like the little things for granted, man. And the toughest part is you can tell a kid that till they're blue in the face, until you're blue in the face. I mean, but like they don't really get it until they actually go through it.
Mm,
I mean, until they actually realize something is gone or something is over, then they're like, man, maybe I should have listened. you know it's just seize the day, man.
seize the day.
Take advantage of every opportunity that you get. And most importantly, just be happy.
Yeah.
Life is pretty short. We don't know when it ends. We don't know when our book ends. When that final chapter is over with, the last page turns, we don't know when that day is. So
Mm,
there's no sense in being upset every day. No reason to hold grudges or be mad at anybody. Just move on and be happy.
yeah. You've always seemed like a pretty happy person
Yeah.
ever since, maybe even more now. What's your secret to finding happiness?
Surround yourself with people that want the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, if somebody wants to be negative, they don't need to be in your life, man. Like they
Yeah.
can they can join the unhappy group if they want to. Life is full of a lot of great things. It's a
Mhm.
lot of great people. The unfortunate part is the mainstream media doesn't want you to know that there are good people in the world. But
Yeah.
all you have to do is just take a step out your door and you'll find them all over the place. So surround yourself with people that you love, man. Surround
Yeah.
yourself with people that that share the same interests with you. So
Yeah. So what's next? Are you just gonna keep doing what you're doing? Is there like another like Or you want to learn how to play piano or something?
Oh my goodness, dude. Like I give props to anybody that can do anything musically. Like I can't sing. Like I have an annoying talking voice. Like I can't sing, dude. Can't play an instrument. Like I tried one time. Like I had a roommate, my roommate Christian from college. He was a great guitar player. He sat down, he just wanted to teach me one thing. Couldn't do it. Like my hands just don't bend that way. Like my wrists just don't bend that way or something. I don't know. But I give props to people that can do it. I mean, that's something I can't do.
Well, maybe your kids will do it, and then you'll be like,
Yeah.
whatever.
Right. Yeah. Hudson has an interest in it. Like he sings all the time. He dances all the time, and he you know acts like he's playing the drum on something every morning to wake everybody up. So, I mean, I could see him getting into some kind of music.
What would you say if he got into music more than sports?
I'd be fine with it. I mean, honestly, like, I know it sounds weird coming from like, a football coach, a guy that was like, oh, my kid's going to play. He's going to play no matter what. I tried that with Harper, like, oh, she's got to play sports. Like she's going to do it. I know she's going to be a good athlete. She has to play. It's so different with my son. Like if he wants to play, that'd be awesome. Like it really would. But if he hates it, I'm not going to make him do it. I mean, if he wants to be just be a non-athlete, I'm okay with it. As long as he stays out of trouble and, he's a good person, that's all I really care about.
Yeah. Well, the physical fitness and social camaraderie of sports is great too, but as long as he stays physically fit, right?
Yeah.
On some level.
Right. Yeah. I mean, he's lucky he's 3. I mean, he can get away with his eating habits, because if I ate what he eats all the time, I mean, it'd be game over for me probably.
Yeah. How is your diet? How's your fitness? You taking care of yourself?
So that's why I'm doing like a shoulder up. So I've lacked on that. Like last year, I tried the keto diet for like 3 months. Like I started it in, I'm gonna say January to just before Harper got her transplant. I lost a good amount of weight, like, and I felt awesome. And then, we were in the hospital for a couple of weeks, and all you do is nervous eat, dude. Like you have nothing else to do. Her transplant went well, but like everything after that was kind of hectic for a little while. So long story short, I gained all the weight back, dude. Like it's hard. I mean, the on the go lifestyle with, traveling all the time, and
Oh yeah.
it's tough, man. And it's crazy because I got like weights and stuff downstairs, like a good weight set type things, and
Yeah, me too. I
just, and it's funny because Hudson's always like, Dad, let's go downstairs, do push-ups. So I was like, okay, so I have a motivator, but like, I'll say we'll do it tomorrow. We'll do something tomorrow. But yeah, it's the fitness part's not very good right now. I'm gonna be honest.
Well, diet, fitness, and plus being a dad, like that's a lot to handle there.
Right. Yeah.
No, I talked with one of my other friends that I met since high school, Deanna Paul, and she ended up opening her own fitness gym, Anytime Fitness or something like that.
Cool.
And so it's like she ended up like building a life around that, like fitness. So that probably helps for some people to stay more fit. Like if you wanna, for me, if I want to be good at music, I kind of built a life around it so I could keep doing it. So maybe.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, and it's crazy because even, I mean, it's hard now because like our new gym and weight room and everything we just had built in Lake City, it's a Taj Mahal of all weight rooms, dude. You can't get into it. You know what I mean? Like everything's locked down. Can't get into it.
Are you guys opening up for the spring semester, or any plans to open up?
We're supposed to reopen January 18th.
Really?
We are. We shut down from, I think it was November 18th to January 18th, and in hopes, everything kind of kind of levels out and we can reopen. But yeah, it's still like everything's restricted though. Like you can't have a whole football team in the weight room. You can't have 30 kids in there. You can only have like 10 at a time and
I
rotate.
can't imagine, like, given what we've grew up with.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah,
even,
no, yeah, it's crazy. I mean, this summer we had like half-hour blocks, and we had our team, like the JV and varsity teams broke up into 4 groups.
Mhm.
One group was like out running, the other group was in the weight room. Then they rotated them after that. Those sessions they left. And then the other 2 groups came in. We did the same thing. It's just wild, man, that like this is what we're going through. This is what life is right now. Because I mean, we didn't worry about stuff like that when we were in school. I mean, like nobody wiped off a bench press bar after they were done with it. Like
No.
it's just, I mean, it's gross, but like nobody did that. Like nobody thought of stuff like that.
I know. And you're in a situation like again where I'm sure you have to be even more careful because of your family.
Yeah.
So,
it's crazy.
So
such is life, though, right, man?
Yeah, such is life. How are your parents? I still remember riding my bike out to your place, and actually, I was thinking about that before we got in the call. Like the distances or how far we'll go for the people that we care about in our lives, and like I remember you rode your bike to Linda to see Linda a long time ago.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, she was mad at me for, I can't remember the reason. Didn't have a truck, so I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna ride my bike there. It can't be that far. Well, it ended up being like 10.2 miles, so it was actually, it was a long distance for sure.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I was thinking about, I did the same thing with my wife. Like here in Chicago, it was like 4 miles away, but when you bike through the city, you never know what you're gonna get. So,
Oh, exactly.
but it's just biking might be your thing to get back in fitness.
Yeah, I've thought about that. I even have a bike, but the tires are flat, so I gotta get air.
Oh, I'll do that tomorrow. Right?
I'll do it tomorrow. Pump the tires up tomorrow.
Man.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's funny because on that bike ride, I got chased by a dog. I went down, I went up one of the steepest hills and then ended up going back down it. I remember taking my feet off the pedals, and I was like, if I hit a rock, I'm gonna die. Like there's no, like I was going so fast.
What hill is that?
It's on Call Road.
Is that the one where Jesse Larson used to live? No, that's a different one.
No, that's on 55, I think. 55. Yeah. So like it was kind of by where Miles, Houston, like Bobby Timmer grew up.
Oh, it's like that big hill.
Yeah. It was that one headed on down, and it was scary.
Tell me another scary moment. Do you have any other like terrifying moments where you thought you were gonna die? How about that one in football? I still remember.
Oh yeah, dude. Oh my gosh. I was gonna say there's a couple that I'm not gonna share, but there's one time I'm playing safety in a pre-district game against Traverse City St. Francis, and they had a fullback who was probably all of, I'm gonna say 5'11", 260 pounds. Like he had a beer belly. Like he was a gigantic kid. I mean, his belly couldn't even like be retained by the jersey. Like it just hung out. Well, he broke through the line. I was the last line of defense. I'm like, there's no way, dude. I go low and I see so much of my life flash before me. And then all of a sudden the whistle blows. I was like, what? I was like, what happened? I woke up out of like a blacked out stage, and there's you jumping up and down, screaming, I broke my damn thumb. You hit this kid so hard, basically saved my life, and your thumb was the sacrificial lamb. Somehow, I don't know how it ended up getting broke on that, but yeah, that was a good time.
That was a good time.
By far the most top 5 most talented football players I've either coached or played with is you. By far.
Yeah. No, I was crazy. I was
Yeah.
crazy, man.
Yeah, and you had a knack for finding the football that you can't teach. Like that was, you know, you had a special God gift, dude, that not a lot of people have. People get that through years and years and hours and months of film study, but you had a God gift, man. There's no doubt about that, and that was something that
that's
I was happy
awesome.
to play with.
I believe you. I didn't know it. It was just normal for me.
Yeah.
But
No, I
if
mean,
you're saying it, it's true.
yeah, I didn't have that. Like, I mean, I did not have that ability what you had. I mean, yeah, I could throw a football forever, but like that didn't mean anything. But like you had an ability to
No, you're like Tom Brady, man.
no,
You were
I
like Tom Brady. No,
I
Tom
could throw the
Brady.
ball a mile, but I couldn't hit a broadside of a barn.
No, but no, he's smart. He's smart how he plays. You know, like he's got a knack for people and like how things work.
For sure. Yeah. No,
So
dude.
do you have
Me and
any
you were
other
smart, dude.
do you have any other super students that are like fun to watch or coach with, or like?
I've had some, I mean, throughout the years, I mean, in McBain and in Lake City, I've had some really special kids. I didn't coach per se, some of them. Like I was just an assistant, so I wasn't like the head coach. I wasn't like coaching those guys necessarily on a day-to-day basis, but two from McBain were really special. Probably the best one of the best football players I've ever played with or coached. Both on offense and defense, just a great mind, is by far Logan Nemeth. Kid's just incredible. Like if he was 2 inches taller, like he'd probably be in the NFL. Like he won a couple national championships at Mount Union as a running back. Smart kid, knew what everybody had to do. He's a great leader. And you always could count on him. He was just always going to be there to make the play or bust off a big run, awesome football player. Cody King was another kid. He was probably a D1 athlete. Kid was a freak of nature as far as from an athletic standpoint, physical ability. I've had some good kids in Lake City too. I had a quarterback a few years ago that there wasn't really anything I taught him. Like he just had the ability, you know what I mean? Like he just had I don't know, from an offensive standpoint, like he could just get out of stuff. Like, I mean, you'd call a play and you knew it'd work because he would somehow make it work. He ran it better than what it was designed. Had a couple good offensive linemen, had a really good Mike linebacker / H-back / fullback type kid. He's at Miles McLeod. He's a kid he's actually at Saginaw Valley right now. He's playing there. So he's in his second year there, which is kind of funky because of all the stuff that's going on. But I've had a lot of good kids, man. I really have. I've been blessed with talent so that
it must feel good though when you're like taking some of these kids and they go to the next level. And I think of like you and Matt McDonald. Like I know Matt McDonald has his way and you have your way, but you're both like, I think the grooming starts pretty young. Like you see these kids in like elementary and you're like, okay, we need to do that so that they're ready by time they hit.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, some people don't know a lot of people know what it takes to build a program, but like really as a varsity guy, you have to start looking at kids and seeing what you have coming up. I mean, if systems have to change, if you have to adapt to what your talent brings, because you can't necessarily be bullheaded and be like, hey, like we have to do it this way no matter what. I mean, people are like that, and there are successful people like that, but when you come from a small town, you have 30 kids on your team, you have to adapt to what they bring to the table. You can't always be spread. Sometimes you got to run eye. Sometimes you go no back. Sometimes you can't run power, but you can run zone. You know what I mean? It's just all the X's and O's, but it all changes year to year based on talent.
Yeah. So how do you develop those? Like for me, they call it piano pedagogy. So it's like typically when we get students or I get a student, you start them at age 5 and you bring them all the way to like 15. So
Mhm.
in 10 years is basically what you have. So what does a football program look like? You know, like the short of it. Like, is it a 10-year program? Like you start training them when they're
It,
like 8 or something?
so it's super hard to like judge a kid like when say like second grade to I'm gonna say sixth grade, because you could be just a big kid and you can dominate. You know what I mean?
Mm,
In those small, in those those few years of being young, we really start developing, not necessarily developing, but trying to figure things out. It's seventh grade,
mm,
seventh and eighth grade during your middle school years. But still, that's not a great tool necessarily. It's really like what you bring as a freshman, um, because you don't know like how a kid physically develops. Especially in middle school, some kids are late bloomers. Some kids may not hit puberty till they're as a freshman. So it's hard to tell how a kid's going to really be in middle school, especially even younger. So I mean, you can start, I guess, in middle school, but really I would say it's still freshman. It's a 4-year thing.
mm. I found the playbook to be kind of confusing when I was in high school. I wish I
Yeah.
could have had more like study time with what the plays were. Like when I was told to go this way, I just went that way. I didn't really see the bigger picture.
Right.
So I didn't know if like how do you address that? Do you try to get everyone on the same page, like knowing, like should everybody know what everybody's doing, or is it better to have someone like me where like you just do one thing and don't think about the rest?
So you have to have a combination of all of that. Like you cannot, it's not possible for every kid to know what every position does. Like it's not possible, especially at high school. I mean, high school kids have so much going on. You can't ask them to know all 11 positions on offense and defense and special teams. You know what I mean? The I don't give playbooks out, but we really try to simplify things with just verbiage. And I mean, it used to be this huge saying of what a play was like, and everything had a purpose of what you said. Like it'd give a formation, it'd give a number, it would give and then it would give like a potentially a motion, and then obviously the cadence or whatever.
Mm,
We don't do that anymore because it is really hard. I mean, I can learn it, so I think anybody can. I mean, I had a hard time with Sambita's playbook because there was so much verbiage. I mean, we went from McDonald, which was like T44 trap on one, to like, pro right strong, 128 boot. I mean, that's big verbiage. That's way different than like trying to
oh, I'm just having flashbacks. I didn't.
yeah.
I really struggled with that, man.
Oh, for sure. It was different, and it'd be different if I think it's easier if it was the other way around. Like you went from Sambita's to McDonald's playbook because you went from all this verbiage to like nothing. I think that's easier. But like when you add like 7 more words and you're like, oh my God, what is going on? Like kids get confused.
Yeah.
And even kids get confused now. I mean, it's just you just try to make things simple. I mean, we went from like going like 28 stretch, like pro right gun 28 stretch, to just we're taking out the formation. We're just gonna be in a certain personnel, so we are always in this formation, and we just go stretch right.
Mm.
Like it's pretty simple. You know what I mean?
That sounds pretty simple. And it just you work. Is it too simple? Do you ever find like the defenses of other like they get to know your playbook? So,
Yeah, I mean, the tough thing about the spread is like you can only do so much, but you can really only do so much in every formation and every
mm,
system. So, in my opinion, what's worked for us is just have a plethora of different formations. Like try to confuse and get people out of the way. You don't need a ton of plays. You know what I mean? Like you don't need to have 50 different plays.
mm,
Sometimes less is more,
mm,
especially in a game. Football is a pretty easy sport. I mean, it's read and react. It's not like you have to think of 100 different things at one time. like your thing. Why one thing you were really good at is like a guard went one way, you knew I had to go that way, so it was a quick twitch.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So with like my quarterback in my system is he reads one guy. Whatever he does, he's wrong. Because we're gonna put him on an island and we're gonna go into 3 different spots where he can't be at once, especially in the passing game.
So you're tricking me.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's all intentional.
trying to make you make the wrong decision, and the chance of you being wrong should be all the time if the read is made correctly.
Yeah. But I don't follow the rules, so I just go for the ball. I get it. Now I get it. Now I understand myself. Oh, okay.
It's like baseball, see ball, hit ball. I mean,
Yeah. You still play baseball?
Get it. So like I used to play fast pitch, which
Of course
was
you did.
yeah, which was which was softball, but it was fast pitch. Because like they have slow pitch, which is basically just home run derby. I did play fast pitch and I really enjoyed it because it was similar to baseball. But I had to retire, man. As soon as I took, I was just reckless. I'm 30 and I'm still diving for balls in the outfield and just chucking the ball all over the place. And it was time for me to walk away from the game because I couldn't afford to get injured.
Did you throw something out?
No, but I dove into second base one time and hit my chin so hard on the ground that I thought I broke my jaw. So that was one. I just the constant state of being sore.
Man, you're getting older every year.
And you don't recover. You don't recover as fast as what you used to. And I would dive for balls in the outfield and just land really hard. And when I was sore in high school, it was for like a half a day. Now it's for like half a week. So it's like I gotta be able to pick my kids up.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
So what sport are you? I remember you actually enjoyed baseball more at a certain point. So what is your most passionate thing or sport, I guess? Is it still football? Or
it's so hard because I enjoyed football. I loved it, but I was small, so I was like I wasn't afraid of getting hurt because I did get hurt often, but I just felt like I was better at baseball than what I was football. Like I just felt like baseball was something that was natural to me. I could throw it hard, I could get to any ground ball and I could hit really well. So I was like, I can do a lot of things well in this sport. Where in football, I was like, there's not a ton that I'm not going to be great at everything. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't going to be a great tackler. I wasn't going to be able to throw 4 touchdowns a game. I wasn't gonna be able to rush for 100 yards. You know what I mean? I guess the main reason why I liked baseball in high school more was I think just the success. I just felt like I was better at it and it was more natural to me. Like I still had to work for it. I still remember in middle school and in high school, I'd go into my barn, my mom and dad's big barn, and I would set up hay bales and I would pitch against hay bales. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Just trying to put in a little bit of extra work, trying to throw harder, because it was like, I always wanted to be able to throw hard and, all that stuff, but always played home run derby with my neighbors. You know what I mean? Like that was always fun. Did a lot of that. And that's the thing about baseball. You can do it all summer, you can almost do it all year. Football, you have a small time frame.
Oh, they're serious about it here in Chicago. Like I have a couple students of mine who are like, it's a year-round sport for them.
It is. It really is. Yeah. And I don't know. I think over time I got away from baseball because like I got out of coaching it, like obviously Harper's not into it. Hudson doesn't have a great interest in it. With the pandemic, you can't go to games, where football, I can still coach it. So I guess I'm more passionate about it and just the camaraderie that it brings.
Yeah.
When people get closer with football than they do baseball.
Yeah. So are you going to coach the baseball team also?
No, I applied for it a couple years ago, actually, because it opened up, but that was the year that Harper got sick. So I don't know if I would have gotten the job. I mean, like I said, I applied for it, but I don't know if I would have gotten it. That would have been pretty cool because, coaching 2 varsity sports, that would have been pretty neat. But
Yeah, Matt McDonald all over again.
there you go, dude.
Have you talked to him? Do you talk to the old coaches?
You
I know
know
you talked
what?
to Grundy.
You know what's crazy? It was last year. We played Sanford Meridian, and Coach McDonald actually is down in Montague. He's got a son who plays for them, and he actually called me because he was trying to get a little information on Sanford, and we had a nice conversation, man. It was about a 25-30 minute conversation. It was just catching up, and it was a great conversation because that was probably the first conversation I've had with him since he left. Like, I mean, it was really nice. Like, I was really happy that happened. But I talked to Grundy not as often as I'd like to. I mean, he's doing his thing over in Marion. Actually, he moved over there, and they're actually still playing, believe it or not, because I mean, the MHSA is finally opening it back up. But he won a regional in Marion, so that's really, really cool. I talk to Simbita as often as I can. He's down in Muskegon back home. So yeah, I've had some conversations with those guys, and it's really, really nice.
Dude, you froze.
I was gonna say you're kind of froze too.
No, you're froze. I'm gonna pause this. Oh, there we go.
There you go.
Good. So Simbita, I didn't know that you and Simbita were like that close. I didn't.
Yeah. I mean, we definitely keep in contact. He's a guy that he's probably one of the more brilliant football minds I've ever been around. He's a student of the game. He understands everything about everything when it comes to football. It was unfortunate for him because he was such a bold personality and such a calm community when he came to McBain. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like people didn't know how to take his passion, and that's what sucked. I got it. Like I understood it. And that's, why I've always looked up to him, because he loves the game so much and loves his players. And Harper's up.
All right. Well,
but yeah, no, it's good, man. I love being able to keep in touch with my old coaches, and
yeah,
I still ask questions, You
think you're going to take it to a championship ever?
That's obviously a goal. We were really close, 2-3 years ago. We were really, really close. My first year we went 12-1. The team we played was the best high school football team I've ever seen. Honestly, I think they would have beat the McBain team that went to the state finals that year. Like how big that team was.
Oh, God.
Their quarterback played D end, and my pulling guard hit him at full speed, and my pulling guard, who's like 5'9", 260, bounced off of him and fell down, and the kid didn't move.
No.
Like the kid was a freak in nature. Like he's
the quarterback, and he played
the quarterback. Like you couldn't tackle him. Like I had a super special free safety. I mean, the kid pound for pound was probably the hardest hitter, toughest kid, one of the toughest kids I've ever coached. And he probably weighed 150 pounds, and that might even be stretching it, but he was like 6 foot, but he would come downhill as hard as he could and hit people as hard as he could. He said he hit this kid as hard as he could, and he wrapped around his body, and he goes, "There's no way we're winning this game." Like, it was that team was special, but they won the state championship. They were good. They were better than us at every position.
Oh,
I mean, they had a tight end that was like 6'8". Like,
dude, where is it?
They didn't even have to throw it.
There's no way that's a public school. There's no way.
Right.
Is it a private school?
No, it's actually a public school, but they're just bred a little bit differently down there. Like
So diet and exercise starting at a young age. I'm telling you, starting at 5 years old.
I think
But
so.
everyone.
Yeah. And honestly, the next year we had a good chance too. But the team we played had a Division I athlete. Like the kid went to Missouri. You
For
know,
what? Was he like
a football player.
Oh,
he
no. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, he was a Division I kid, ended up, going to Missouri, and yeah, that team was good too, but we just made too many mistakes that game.
Yeah.
Like we had like 7 turnovers and we didn't have 7 turnovers pretty much all year.
Something in the air.
Yeah. So, like I said, I don't know if we'll win one. I'm hopeful. I can't say yes, we're going to win one, and then obviously if that promise isn't fulfilled, I mean, I'm a liar, but
no, I get it. You got to that's got to be the goal.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we have a great core group of kids, and then the awesome thing about Lake City is the kids love football.
Yeah.
And it starts at a young age, man. I mean, these kids they're playing on recess, first, second, third, fourth, fifth grade. They're all out there playing, but that's when we started. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I felt like if we would have stuck around Lake City would have had a pretty good team.
I was thinking about that. I mean, like you and I left, and then there was, like Almond Miller. He was another kid who played football, was a good athlete. Austin Randall, he ended up leaving Lake City too. I mean, there's a lot of good talent that ended up leaving, and they had some good kids there, man.
Yeah, they did. I know Chris Harrington was pretty good.
Yeah, he was really good. Yeah, he was a dude, that's for sure.
Roddy Helsel, I think, if I remember.
Yep. Yeah,
Hank.
Yeah. Those kids were pretty good. I actually tried convincing those guys our senior year to move to McBain. I was like, I remember talking on like MSN Messenger or something to Roddy, and I was like, dude, you guys should honestly come to McBain. Like, we would be unstoppable, which would have been true, but
for like one semester.
Right. Yeah.
You're so bold. I love it.
Yeah.
Man. Well,
how are things with you, man? Like, how's your mom?
My mom's good. She's just sitting right here. Yeah, like going through that whole, thing, it really like changes you. So what you went through with Harper, I felt like I could understand a little bit.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I mean, it changes your perspective on what's important in life, man.
Yeah. I'm so happy though that like I get to like connect with her like every day, and my job allows me to be here.
Yeah.
I think so, because I'm teaching piano. That's what I do now. I just teach piano.
Dude, that's pretty awesome gig, man.
It is great, and
something you're passionate about.
It is, and I was telling someone else like someone said, "Oh, you have a gift for sure," and I was like, it's either a gift or something out of desperation, because like I needed to have it in my life. And so because of that, things improved around my life.
Yeah, for sure.
So
yeah, it's definitely a gift, man, because like it's something that comes natural to you. You're good at it. You can teach it. Like there's a lot of good, like even in my, like say, I wouldn't say my profession, but like a lot of, I don't know how to say this, but like there's a lot of people that know the game, but they can't relate it to anybody. I mean, if you can teach young kids to play piano, that's pretty special, because I don't even know if I could coach like 5-year-old kids, dude. So for you to be able to do that, it's special. It takes a special person to do that.
In the part of my mind that's a total fantasy, I was like, if I ever came back to like Lake City, I would totally coach with you, and I think that we would like develop like something awesome.
Heck yeah, man!
I would love to do that.
It's always open, my friend.
Yeah, no, just like some kind of like pre middle school program, like
yeah.
Because man, what we did when we were kids was so good. I had a vision of it. I was taking a shower this morning, and I was like, I remembered one specific play. We must have been in like we were either 6 or 7 years old, and you and I were on opposite teams. And I always hated that. I wanted to be on your team always, but I think we had to be separated, or else it was just too one-sided. And I
Yep.
remember like you guys like scored, and then it was our turn. And I was just like, I was upset about that because like, dude, you just scored, and so I went one way, and then I zigzagged left. Everybody went right, and then I scored the touchdown. But I still have that vivid memory of like, it's so vivid to me. I remember every footstep.
Mm-hmm.
I thought like that kind of memory and like having that with you, like it was just so cool to
Yeah,
me.
definitely. It's yeah, and that's something that
Do you have that too? Do you like remember like?
I do. Like I honestly like it's weird to say, but like I have like a memory of like the first time I scored a touchdown on a playground in Lake City. Like we were like it was on the playground, we were going towards the west side of the playground. And I just remember like catching a pass and like juking somebody out and just running to like the lineup line. Like, and that's what it was. And I was ecstatic, man. Like I thought I just like won $1 million. Like I thought it was like the coolest thing ever.
It is.
It is.
It
And
totally is.
and I think it's a lot of this like competitive nature. Like you were mad that I scored. That's perfect. Like there's nothing wrong with that. People would be like, "Oh, you can't be mad that he scored." No, because that's what ended up driving you into being like a great football player in general, is because you didn't want anybody to be better than you. You know, that's why you worked out hard. You know, that's why you did a lot of other things great. And it's tough because not everybody is like that I coach. You know, some kids are like, it's okay. No, it's not okay. You know what I mean? Like go back to when you were a little kid. Instead of playing on the jungle gym, go play football. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, for me, I think this is going deep, but like when that moment, like you were like making the teams, and I felt rejected because you put me on the other team. I was like, I'm like the best player here in my mind. I'm like, I'm the best player here, and you're putting me on the other team. I was like, and I wanted to prove to you that you made the wrong choice.
Right. So, and maybe this wasn't my mindset, but I feel like this was my mindset back then, was I wanted to make the teams even instead of like having all of us good players on one team and just kill the other team, because then the other kids wouldn't play.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I was like, okay, like Chris, you and I can't be on the same team because we're the two of the better players. It just makes sense, but it makes sense more now than when we're in second grade. I guess.
Yeah. In second grade, you didn't clue me in on that, so I didn't know. I thought it was a personal rejection of
never. I was just like, you think about it. It's like, say you and I are on the same team. We just kill everybody. The next recess, nobody wants to play. Well, the teams are unfair. Well, I guess that's why I tried to make them fair.
It's just like you were 6 years old and you were that socially aware. Like what?
Yeah.
Dude, explain that to me. I mean, what 6-year-old is being so thoughtful of like all of his friends and all the people to like, hey, let's play football together and let's like build a culture of, you were building a culture of like sports by yourself at age 6, age 5. Like,
right.
Who does that?
I don't know.
Dude, you're special.
Yeah.
You're absolutely special. Those kids don't know how lucky they are to have you as a coach.
Thanks.
Seriously, dude. Like, I don't know. I think you might if you get the right group, you'll definitely get a championship for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I think so. And we're close. The program, the system's in place, man. A lot of things that we do work. It's just trying to get kids to really. We've had groups that bought into it. We've had kids in groups that just haven't, and it's just kind of hoping that one group comes along that really truly buys into it and
and not go up against any 6'8" D1.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, that team was crazy. But they're good at everything.
I remember like some of these kids look like they're adults.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, I have hair on my chest. I was like, I got it now.
Their running back had like a 50-year-old's beard. Like, I mean, like, I was like, this kid, where are these kids coming from?
I remember Alex Gildy. He was like, that
Oh,
guy was insane, like
yeah.
with strength. Like,
Yeah. And it's funny that I say that because we went to school with, I mean, we
can you
went to
imagine going
school.
up against Alex Gildy as a
Yeah.
16-year-old?
Yeah.
No, no, thank you.
Right. But I mean, we were in the same program as a guy that went to the NFL. So I mean, like, we've played and been around guys as big as that. It's just
Yeah.
different, and you don't see it for a while, I guess, and then you stumble upon them in a semifinal, and they beat you down.
Mm.
But yeah,
Well, dude, I absolutely love talking with you. It's so good to see you again.
you too, man.
And
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what comes for like the future. I hope that Harper keeps getting stronger, and I'm going to see some football trophies.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely beating McBain feels good, I'm sure.
It does. Yeah, we got beat up on this year. We did a lot of uncharacteristic things this year against us, but they had a good team. I mean, they had a great game plan against us, and we didn't show up to play. We kind of thought that we had it in the bag before we showed up. So,
Yeah.
but it's kind of nice. I mean, we did win 5 in a row against them, so that was pretty cool.
Keep it up, man.
Yeah, gonna try. It was great talking to you, man. I appreciate you reaching out.
Thanks for taking the time, dude. It's so good to see you. You're
Absolutely.
awesome.
Thanks, man. You too, buddy.
All right. Well, tell Linda I said hi.
Will do, buddy.
All right.
All right, take care, man. We'll see you.